Namaste. I invite you to invoke 3 ohms in the way I just did, and then close your eyes and put all your attention on your heart center, on the Anahata chakra, and see if you can perceive the silent vibration, the silence that is the core of Nada. Now, I don't mean silence as the gap between sounded notes. I mean the vibration of the manifest expression of self. This underlying substratum of unstruck vibration, Anahata Nada, is the core of the Nada in Nada Yoga. And so today, this short, which might be a little long, is on Nada Yoga as a window into realizing unity consciousness, unity with all that is, through understanding that the struck portion, ahata nada, whether as music, chant, or speech, or really all action as well, because anything you speak, chant, or sing, or do is the manifestation of the underlying source, substratum of silence, if the mind and mental activity has not colonized the body, which is a pure channel of consciousness. So, when we say Nada Yoga, clearly the word yoga already suggests that this is at least a metaphysical endeavor. Yoga, joining, yoking, two things becoming one. But what two things? What is joining with what? So truly, really, ultimately, simply realizing no two is yoga. And Nada here is the access, because Nada is the core of all manifest creation. Whether you look at Om as the Prathama Nada, the Big Bang, the baby's first cry, everything is sound vibration. And the struck portion of it is the tip of the iceberg. So unless, as a being in the manifest, one is in contact with the anahat, the unstruck, the silence of being, it isn't the complete Nada. Now, in most cases, singing or speaking and acting from not understanding and not accessing the silence is benign. But sometimes it can be nefarious, and I'll get to that in a second, especially when certain esoteric, certain channels of the body have opened up, the access has opened up to powerful sounded Nada, but the body has not been freed of mind colonizing it, the mind colonizing the vasanas, and has not yet transformed into a transparent channel, then it's not so benign. So we must be careful of and cautious and really sincere in how we use the term Nadyog to brand, to market, to commercialize, and instead fall into the silence. Let's fall into the silence, the Anahat, the heart center, truly, and allow that core essential substratum to imbue everything we speak, say, do, sing, chant as the ahata. There is a reason that saints like Kabir, Mira, Tukaram, or all of Guru Bani, the Samaved, the Sanskrit language uses sound and sounded form to convey essence, knowing essence. Shabad. So Shabad is the Anahat realization expressed in sound. Sanskrit makes sure that the use of Om, Hum, Aham is built in. So there's a resonance in everyday speech. So by the time knowing becomes speech or chant or sound, there's a continuity of consciousness manifest as ahat. Anahat manifesting as ahat. When we hear kriyas like omkar or humkar, in the formal Dhrupad, the form of Dhrupad, it may sound like just a kriya or just sort of an aesthetic element, but it's actually threading all the energy centers. Just like the same way the Kundalini rises in the Sushumna, Som, the etheric fluid, rises in the Sushumna Nadi. Similarly, sound is being used to what is silently happening otherwise and has been realized inwardly is now being sounded. So you can imagine that if it is sounded without realizing and being able to perceive the Anahat, realizing the energetic quality of the energy centers, realizing how they thread and how energy rises through them, how everything is threaded and turning this system into a transparent channel. If you simply sound content, whether it is speaking scripture, chanting from the Vedas, singing from the mind realm, the intellectual realm, without this being activated, and then saying that we're doing something profound, would be misguided. And the other thing is sometimes very intense practicing with sound, or intense practicing of something like Kundalini Yoga, or a mistimed energy transfer from a master, like a Shaktipat, can trigger these centers to open up and some access to happen in a more physical way. But there hasn't been enough inner guidance or your inner guru reflected as a true Sat in the outer realm, in the outer reflection, then your the mind patterns that have colonized the body and turned into vasanas and sanskars, impressions, not clearing, means that now you have something like an atom bomb in misuse. So that's where it can turn nefarious and dark if sound energy has been accessed at a deeper level, but distorting patterns have not cleared. The body has not turned into a transparent channel yet. So it's important to first turn your gaze inward and access the silence that you are, the anahat that you are, the heart that you are, not the emotional heart, but the pure universal heart, the swarup, the self, the void, source, and ensure that there's a seamless continuity of the anahat into the ahat. There are also palliative aspects of nad, the true nad, in balancing naturally. Since I just said, how it can be misguided, it can, if it is understood in the true sense, it can rebalance, starting from the subtle body into the gross body, all sorts of psychological and physical imbalances. Also, for a true Nadiyogi, the ahata, coming back to Dhrupad as a formal expression of nad, the true nad. If you look at the words Dhruva, Pada, Dhruva is that unmoving swarup, self, source, void, anahat. And Pada, while most would interpret it as a verse, I would say Pada is your steps, your footsteps forming a path, now forming a projection, forming the manifest reality, forming your world. So Pada is the emanation, the struck and perceivable, the sensory, the measurable expression of the unstruck, right? So any true realized, initiated in Nad being has a pada, a verse or a path or expression that is unified, that is one with all that is harmonious, free of resistance and conflict, dvesh, rag, enmity, division, and that takes responsibility for seeing through all that seems out of balance, out of integrity, out of harmony. So it's a very, just like all creation is sound, a realized Nad Yogi is creating at a very subtle level. And I don't mean creation as simply as artistic expression. I mean the entire world as it projects from such a being has that tenor, that harmony and unity, that completeness, that wholeness. So a rather comprehensive but abstract and large window into Nad Yoga, all tracing back to an essential silence of being. And with that, I wish you all this gaze inward and this discovery of the profound silence that you are. And may that silence strike a chord. Thank you. Namaste.